It's Blake now who's going to be in studio with us. Blake, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Real well, thank you. Let's
Good,
get
good.
started with the Soil and Water Conservation District Office. You've had some things going on.
Yeah. So basically, last week our fish sales had gotten done. So, uh, if anybody, I'm gonna be sending them in today. So if anybody wants a last minute, fish order, they can try and ask me. But I mean, it's gonna be kind of tough. But as for tree sales, we're still having that. Those won't be until November. So you have plenty of time to get your orders in. End of October here is the deadline. But yeah, then we have our fourth grade conservation day, which was pretty successful. I mean, everyone had a great time there. We had around 687 kids to around 711, somewhere around there. But yeah, it was a big day, lots going on. But yeah, overall, we think it was pretty successful.
How do you handle that number of kids?
Well, it's it's good that I'm not really in charge of them. It's mostly like all their teachers and stuff, since it's kind of like a station. You get teachers at stations, and they have their kind of leaders. They have like one adult per 10 kids. So I mean, usually it's pretty well taken care of, and they kind of do it themselves. So yeah, no, there's no way I'd be able to take care of it more than like 20 kids at a time. No way. But yeah, and then we'll have the Sauk Valley Pathways Playground coming up. That's at Sauk Valley's Community College.
So what is that?
That's for eighth graders. They'll be walking around in stations. It's kind of like a career day that we used to have. That schools usually have. They walk around, look at different jobs that they could be going into, and I kind of just briefly explain what we do, and kind of have. I know last year I had some furs laid out. Had like a guessing game, so something kind of interactive for them to learn about and do while they're kind of figuring out what the job's about. So
Are you affected by the government shutdown at all, Blake?
yes, I am. Right now, I'm not allowed to be in the office since that's a federal workplace. Right now, I'm just kind of working at home, just kind of keep things going. But yeah, if you're trying to go to the office, you're not going to be able to go there. You can't call the number that's you usually call. If you want to get a hold of me, you have to go through email at Whiteside County SWCD at hotmail.com. And that's basically kind of the only thing. Otherwise, as for any federal like CRP work or any like conservation programs in general, usually are going to be on hold. Like anything through NRCS or FSA, they're not really working right now, so there's no work being done there.
Are you getting paid?
Yeah, I'm still getting paid. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of state government, not federal, so it's a little different there. It's kind of confusing how it all works. It's all a big mess kind of going on.
Yeah, as long as you're getting paid, though, that's great.
Yep.
Fall tree planting, what do we need to know about that?
Yeah, so just kind of your fall tree plantings coming up. I know for our tree sale, it's going to be a little later, so it's going to be a little harder to get those trees in the ground, since it might be a little colder and harder ground. But some common mistakes that you kind of want to watch out for, just make sure when you're making your holes, don't dig them too deep or not too shallow, because then you're gonna have this big sinkhole of a tree, and then it's also not going to be in line with that kind of nodule where it's usually at. You usually want to keep it flat with that. And then you also don't, if there's a specific species with a taproot, you don't want it to come back up. That makes a J root, and then it's going to make it harder to kind of plant itself in the ground, because it's going to have to eventually go back down. So keeping that going straight down is the best possible way to keep it growing. Having air pockets in the soil, make sure it's all compacted, press it down around with your foot. Some other things, not a lot of people think about is mulching, kind of mulching around the tree, not getting it too close to the base of the tree as well, because then it could provide things like some infections and tree rotting, some root rot. So be careful when you're mulching, but it also is a very important tool to help keep those roots moist and the soil moist. And also some other things, just make sure you know where you're planting the trees, because if you're planting it right next to your house or something, just it's not a good idea because a bunch of tree problems in the future for your grandkids if they have the house or people in the future. So
Yeah, you got to remember what those trees are going to grow up to be.
yeah, yep.
Fall fishing.
Yeah, so the fish haven't quite moved deeper yet since it's not, dead of winter. They haven't moved to a stable temperature, but they are getting, a little deeper. But, like species like walleye, they like to hang out during the fall in the shallower areas just to keep a little warmth, a little more stable temperatures. But in general, kind of keep fishing around those flatter areas. And then, they're searching for more food, getting those bigger, slower moving baits around.
Do you fish?
But yeah, I fish a little bit. It's mostly bass I like to do, but I've done a little bit, but not too much. But I know they like to, hang around those areas, but usually they like to stick in those real deep kind of areas of the Mississippi where they have that huge drop off. They like sitting behind those.
I know you're good friends with my nephew Dylan. He likes to trout fish.
Oh yeah, he always talks to me about that all the time, and I'm just like, oh wow, good, that's awesome, dude. Like he showed me his fly fishing rod. He's trying to get that going, so I'm just like, yeah, no, I haven't done that, but he looked like he was getting the hang of it, doing it real good. So yeah, but
you'll have to go out with him.
Yeah, no, I'll have to get because I don't even have a trout stamp. I have my normal fishing license, but I'll have to get that if I do go out and fishing like that. But yeah.
Again, visiting with Blake from Whiteside County, so we should be working on ponds?
Yeah, fall is an excellent time to work on ponds, right before the freeze over. Making sure you get some water tests in for, future spring events, checking those nutrient levels. Because, you want to have a delicate balance between having some nutrients, but not a lot, because the algal blooms can kill off all your fish. So you want to make sure that, you have a little bit. So then, if you have grass carp, they're being able to feed, and, small bait fish have places to hide in those weeds, in those aquatic vegetation. So you want some of that as well. So nitrogen and phosphorus.
Do you help people out with this sort of thing?
I haven't yet. Maybe in the future if I learn more about it, and if I'm able to get out there. It's kind of a weird situation where I'm trying to still figure out kind of what's going on. I've been here for a little bit over a year, but still kind of clueless on a lot of things yet. Mm-hmm. So yeah, still trying to learn, and hopefully in the future I can kind of help people out with that more.
Dave, of course, normally comes in. Do you rely on him quite a bit for information, or?
Yeah, I've asked him quite a bit of questions around quite a bit of, like on like past stuff. Like I'd ask him, have we done stuff with this before? Like, is this a thing you guys do usually? And he'll be like, either, no, if you want to go to do that anyways, you could. But otherwise, yeah, we usually do that, and he kind of gives me some insight on it. Like, I know we did the sales items, or like we have our sales stuff, and he taught me some stuff. Like, here's our, bat houses that we have. You want to keep them up as high as you can, or just some little tips, for people putting them up or people using them so they know.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great source of information.
Yeah, he is.
No
He's got a
that.
lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he certainly does. Sturgeon conservation efforts. Talk about that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't really think about where caviar really comes from, and I know a lot of it does come from sturgeon. And DNR fisheries actually usually have sturgeon. Those are usually the only fisheries that do have them, since they're kind of endangered. They want to keep them in the carrying hands. But for habitat restoration, you want to make sure that the sturgeon are having a good spot for nesting, or putting their eggs down, because they're constantly traveling up and down the river. There's not really a good habitat spot that they're going to sit at all the time like a bass would. But yeah, and then some other examples. I know a lot of people don't think about poaching or over harvesting much in Iowa, really, but in like other areas of the world it is a big problem. But here it is a problem as well, since there's a reason why we don't have many sturgeon in the Mississippi. And there is another example actually in Illinois, where there was a guy doing double bagging fish and also killing a buck with a firearm and didn't report it at all. And he took people on these trips or like excavations where, you know, they would do all this stuff, and he had no license or nothing. And he actually got 2 years probation, 144 hours of community service, and then he had to pay $10,000 to the Lacey Act rewards account. So he had quite a bit of a problem with that. But I mean, I know on the last radio show I talked, he thought, you know, you think there would be a little bit more, like more years of probation instead, like a lifetime probation, because, you know, you're taking away all these fish and limiting numbers by a large amount. I mean, it's crazy. You know, there is examples out there that, you know, this is bad stuff, that you should be having a license, you should be reporting your kills, and it's all just due to numbers, making sure the populations are healthy.
Got about 3 minutes left. Got a couple more points. Leave the leaves alone.
Yeah. You know, if you want to, you can leave the leaves in your lawn, making sure those are good, because there's overwintering butterflies and moths in there that you could chop up if you're using a mower. I mean, or raking. It could stop their, you know, process of overwintering, and then, you know, you're just gonna end up dying out, and it's not going to be much left for them there. But it's also a natural weed suppressor. So, you know, if you're having trouble with weeds in the spring, that can also be something that could help you later on. And you can also mulch up those leaves and take them elsewhere if you are raking them up. You know, just use them for soil, you know, keep that good soil health and keep it growing well.
Pumpkins. Of course, everybody wants to do something with pumpkins around this time of year. So paint or not to paint?
Yeah. You know, if you are painting it, try and keep it indoors. You know, it's not good for the squirrels. I mean, you know, every year you have squirrels or something coming up, rabbits, you know, coming up, gnawing on your pumpkins. I mean, it's always going to be a problem. So, I mean, and also decomposition is also inevitable when dealing with pumpkins outside and getting them carved. So, I mean, just try and keep them out. Maybe if you're carving them, leave them inside and then put them out as late as you can, and then, or as early as you can if you want them to be eaten. I mean, or leave them out, and that's good. But if you're painting them, I would recommend keeping them inside.
And our final point, I didn't know this was coming up, International Bat Week.
Yes, it's going to be coming up soon. So, yeah, just some other things to mention. I mean, we do have bat houses if people are interested in, you know, having bats around their area. You know, they're good insect repellent. So, but some common bats, you know, just some recognition for the Bat Week. The big brown bat, little brown bat, eastern red bat, and the tricolored bat. But, you know, in Illinois, there's 13 species of bats. So, you know, if you see stuff roaming around in the sky, you know, just don't think, oh, it's a bat. You know, there's multiple different types of bats. So.
Not a big fan of bats, but that International Bat Week is coming up. So we'll be talking to you again on November 11th, and thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
KROS, Kelly Heating and Air, and our participating sponsors give you the chance to win $100 each week in the Grid Gallop game. Choose who you think will win from our selected college and NFL games, and for the tiebreaker, don't forget to write down your